Shea Patterson was one of the top quarterbacks coming out of high school, and he was looked at as the future of college football. Now that his career is over, he never lived up to the hype and didn't even hear his name called in the 2020 NFL Draft. So what went wrong? In today's video, we will answer that question and talk about the rise and fall of Shea Patterson. I had been uploading every single day as of late, but I accidentally spilled water on my computer and it took a few weeks to get that issue fixed, but I'll be back uploading daily for hopefully the rest of the summer. So because of that, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. I make a ton of college football related videos, and you will not want to miss out on anything else I'm doing this summer. If you want to help my channel grow, please be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, drop a video suggestion in the comment section, and turn on post notifications so you never miss another upload. Now let's get started with what happened to Shea Patterson. Shea grew up loving the game of football, and he was originally born in Toledo, Ohio. Eventually, he moved to Texas and became a starter for Hidalgo High School, and everyone knew the talent he possessed. Believe it or not, he came from a pretty athletic family, as his grandfather actually played for the Detroit Pistons back in the day, and his brother Sean was a coach for LSU at one point. After his stellar freshman season in high school, Shea actually verbally committed to play for Arizona. Eventually, Sean's job took the family to Shreveport, Louisiana, where he would play for 2 more years of high school. Shea blew up on the recruiting trail and was quickly becoming one of the top quarterbacks in his class. He won the MVP of the prestigious Elite 11 camp, and he decided to transfer to IMG Academy for his senior year. He ended up leading them to an undefeated season, and his national brand grew after his senior year. By many, he was thought to commit to whatever school his brother coached at. He eventually committed to play for Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss, and apparently, Hugh had been watching him since he was in 9th grade. Freeze said Shea had the it factor, and he wanted him to be his quarterback. He committed there because he loved the stadium, the atmosphere on game day, and it was the only school where he could actually see himself playing in that uniform. Despite offers from schools such as Notre Dame, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State, Shea was 100% committed to the Rebels, and Sean left his job at LSU and joined the staff at Ole Miss. Him and Jacob Eason were the top 2 quarterbacks in the class of 2016, and many believe both of them were destined for greatness. He became an Army All-American, won the MVP of the game, and enrolled at Ole Miss early to get a jump start. According to 24/7 Sports, Shea was a 5-star recruit, the number 1 quarterback, and the 4th best player in the class of 2016. With all the hype in the world, Shea was ready to get started in Oxford. Shea Patterson technically came into Ole Miss as the backup quarterback to Chad Kelly, and it wasn't going to be his time just yet. Ole Miss had a really weird year, as they were supposed to be good, but ended up going 5-7. They beat number 12 Georgia, a good Memphis team, and number 10 Texas A&M, but they just couldn't put it together as they lost to Vanderbilt and Mississippi State in their final 2 games. Chad Kelly tore his ACL, so Shea actually got to start those final 3 games, and he won his first career start against number 10 Texas A&M, but as I said earlier, they lost to Vanderbilt and rival Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl and missed out on a bowl game altogether. Despite being the backup, Shea would go on to throw for 880 yards and 6 touchdowns, while completing 55% of his passes. This was bad for Shea though, as he'd have to burn his red shirt 9 games into the season and ended up amounting to absolutely nothing. I would be super mad if I was him. Because Chad Kelly was now gone, the team was going to be Shea's in 2017, and the college football world was super excited to see what he could do as the full-time starter. Patterson did have some solid weapons, as he had A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, and DeMarcus Lodge to throw the ball to, and Jordan Wilkins was a star running back. The Rebels were under first-year head coach Matt Luke after Hugh Freeze was fired due to the NCAA's investigation. Luke was a coordinator for the team, so he was the popular pick by the players and the school to keep the momentum going. Shea helped lead the Rebels to a 2-0 start after he threw for 429 yards against South Alabama and 489 yards against UT Martin. He also threw for a total of 9 touchdowns in both of those games. Yes, the competition was weak, but what he did was pretty insane, and he was living up to his high school hype. They played their first real game against California, and despite 363 yards through the air, Shea's 3 interceptions proved to be the difference maker, and they lost their first game of the season. Things didn't get any better the next few games, as he struggled in a 66-3 humiliation by way of Alabama, and then another big loss to Auburn. He did rebound with a win over Vanderbilt, and he threw for 351 yards and 4 touchdowns. At this point, Shea was a rising star in the game, and was on track to potentially break some school records, but unfortunately, he would get dealt a bad hand. After throwing 3 first-half interceptions, he tore his ACL and was done for the season in their game against LSU. Jordan Ta'amu actually came in and did really well, but they missed a bowl game due to their trouble at the NCAA. On the year, Shea threw for 2,259 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, while completing 63.8% of his passes. He was a bright young star in the college football world, but to this point, he had kind of gotten screwed. Because of the state of the Ole Miss program, Shea decided it would be in his best interest to enter the transfer portal and find a new school. Rumors swirled, and some potential options included USC, UCLA, Michigan, Arizona, Miami, and Notre Dame. Arizona was the first school he ever committed to, so some people thought that would be his favorite, but after a few weeks, it became clear where he was going to go. Jim Harbaugh was known as a quarterback whisperer, while he coached Andrew Luck at Stanford, and both Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. Jake Rudock, Wilton Speight, and John O'Korn were solid quarterbacks, but many wanted to see what Harbaugh could do with an elite-level quarterback in his system. Patterson committed to the Wolverines and was expected to help lead the program to new heights. The Wolverines opened up the season ranked number 14 in the country, and were going to play their arch rival, and were going to get to play an arch rival in their first game. Michigan was expected to be pretty good, as they had a really good defense, and they had playmakers such as Karan Higdon, Tariq Black, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Nico Collins. After a 3-year hiatus, they were set to play Notre Dame Week 1 under the lights. Shea didn't exactly awe anyone though, as he didn't throw for a single touchdown, but did throw an interception. They lost the game 24-17 after a late fumble, and more was going to be expected of Shea if Michigan was ever going to beat these top-tier teams. He redeemed himself with back-to-back 3-touchdown games, but it was against weak competition in Western Michigan and SMU. Once he started playing decent teams again, he went back under his rock. Against Nebraska, he only threw for 120 yards, and he didn't even throw for a touchdown in their close win over Northwestern. He helped lead them to a huge win over number 15 Wisconsin, but once again, he didn't even throw for a touchdown. He threw for a pair of touchdowns in both wins over Penn State and Michigan State, but he was going to have to play the game of his life if they were going to have any chance of beating Ohio State. He warmed up to it with a 3-touchdown game against Rutgers, but that's Rutgers. Against his arch rival, Shea actually had a pretty solid game, as he threw for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. The only problem was the defense didn't exactly show up, and allowed 62 points and another Buckeye beatdown. Maybe he was at least going to have a big game against Florida though. Think again, he threw for 2 interceptions and the Wolverines got blown out. On the year, Shea honestly kinda disappointed. If you are a Michigan fan, feel free to let me know how you felt about his first year, and despite the underachievement, he still managed to throw for 2,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, and he also threw less picks, and increased his completion percentage to 65%. But once again, he really wasn't anything spectacular his junior year. Going into his senior year, the Michigan running game was hurt as they lost Karan Higdon to the NFL, and Chris Evans was suspended for the year. He still had all his wide receiver weapons, and former Alabama wide receivers coach Josh Gaddis became the team's new offensive coordinator. True freshman Zach Charbonnet was the starting running back, and Ronnie Bell would go on to break out for the Wolverines as they opened up Week 1 ranked number 7 in the country and were also picked to win the Big Ten East. Week 1, Shea threw for 3 touchdowns against Middle Tennessee, but his struggles would return the very next week. Against Army, he didn't throw a single touchdown, and it took both a missed field goal, overtime, and a lucky fumble to win that game. They lost the following week to Wisconsin in blowout fashion, and Shea did not play well at all. They beat number 14 Iowa, but he only threw for 147 yards, and he threw an interception. They had a bounce-back game against Illinois before they found themselves trailing against Penn State. He helped lead them back, and even had a chance to tie the game late, but unfortunately, his last-second pass to Ronnie Bell fell incomplete. Despite only completing 6 passes, the Wolverines blew out Notre Dame the following week, and they beat Maryland the week after that. Against rival Michigan State, he had arguably the best game of his Michigan career, as he threw for 384 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did throw for 5 touchdowns the following week against Indiana, but he also threw less yards and threw an interception. Now came his last chance to change the narrative surrounding his name, as Ohio State was now upon him. As usual, he didn't play very well, and Michigan got blown out. He ended his college football career with 2 interceptions against Alabama, and I swear he played bad in every big game. He still managed to throw for 3,061 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, while his completion percentage dropped to 56%. After the season, Shea was still invited to the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, but he didn't really perform very well. Couple that with his college reputation, and it was a recipe for him going undrafted. That ended up becoming true, and he was forced to sign a free agent deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a low-risk, high-reward type pickup for the Chiefs. We all know this will never change unless something catastrophic happens. So now my question is, what really went wrong for Shea? He was supposed to be the missing piece to Michigan's playoff puzzle, but he never came close to living up to the hype. Shea struggled to extend plays while he was there, and him and the offense just never clicked. He struggled to throw the ball accurately, and never had the natural feel to make big plays. Jim Harbaugh's whispers either never made it through Shea's ear, or Jim is overrated. But honestly, I believe that Michigan was just a different animal, and he fell victim to all the high expectations placed upon him. He had wide receiver talent all around him, and they even ran a pro-style offense for him to succeed in. He had 2 different offensive coordinators, so it wasn't just one of those issues. When he got to the combine, he was asked by the Pittsburgh Steelers what would happen if they drafted him, and he said he would lead them to a Super Bowl by the end of his rookie deal. Yeah, confidence is a good thing, but that kind of talk didn't sit well with NFL GMs. To make matters worse, it took forever for him to be signed, and a false report even came out that he had signed with the Giants. I really feel bad for Shea, and I hope he gets a chance to be the eventual backup for the Chiefs, but it may be a struggle for him to even make the roster. I will definitely be watching how his rookie year goes, and what happens to him after that. Shea is just another case of a player who had a ton of hype coming out of high school, and just was never meant to be a star. This goes to show you that stars don't mean everything in the recruiting world, and you never know who's going to succeed and who's going to flop. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please make sure to let me know in the comment section and smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, I'm trying to reach 2.8k subscribers by the end of July, and I really need your help to make that happen. While you're still here though, be sure to check out my video about what happened to another former 5-star recruit and quarterback Max Brown, and also check out all my other What Happened To videos while you're at it. Until next time though, peace.